looking at a business model, it's not just that it's recurring, that you retain a customer, but how often are you generating revenue from that customer? How frequently is it recurring? How valuable is and unique is your service to that customer?
I got some chills. You look at business as a vessel for doing something that's bigger than yourself. And we're back with another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham, and we are going to talk about some really cool things today. We've got opportunities where a lot of times we're talking to the person who's been there not only from ideation, but also from day one. And sometimes that person's the founder, sometimes they're the president, sometimes they've got different titles, right? And today I'm excited because we're going to talk about something that I think everybody needs, which is clean houses. We all need clean houses. Clean spaces help keep our mental headspace correct. And then we also need that to be something that can be easily done for us if we don't like to clean our houses. And that's why I've got the president of Home Clean Heroes on today. I've got Joe Delatte. He's the president. He's been there since day one. We're going to talk about cleaning houses. We're going to talk about franchising. We're going to talk about what it's like to be the president, the boss, the big man, the head cheese. Without further ado, Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate taking the time to talk.
It's my pleasure. So I always like origin stories. And, with a lot of people that are listening, thinking about franchising or early in their journey, the formative stages of a franchise to me are one of the coolest opportunities that happen. It's like a new business where other entrepreneurs can ride along with that business. It's hatched and it's available and other people can take us up on the opportunity. So why don't you give us a little bit of history around the organization so we kind of know the founding story of the organization?
Sure. Glad to. And it's pretty interesting. My evolution into franchising's got some similarities to how Home Clean Heroes came to be as well. But we are one of the Buzz franchise brand. We were actually the third brand that was formed. So Buzz is real well known as the original founders of Mosquito Joe. I started Mosquito Joe back in 2012, and then Buzz came into being as a result of that as a multi-franchisor, and founded Pool Scouts in 2015, and then launched Home Clean Heroes in 2017. And Home Clean Heroes was the first of the brands that we launched truly from scratch. Mosquito Joe was an acquisition of an operating location, as was Pool Scouts, and we franchised from there. Home Clean Heroes, we truly, from the ground up, we built it. Where the idea came from is, first of all, we're looking to, as Buzz is looking to expand and become a multi-brand franchisor, we really just started looking at what's in demand, what's time proven, what's in that home services type of a wheelhouse. And we spent a lot of time talking to a lot of our industry friends about, specifically the consultants and coaches within the consultant networks, about what do you need? What sells well? What's in demand? And the residential cleaning model came up primarily because there were a lot of fairly well-known established brands that were sold out in a lot of key markets. So needed more inventory. So the two things kind of locked up very well, and that's how the concept was developed. And then we built the brand from the ground up. So the origin story of residential cleaning is, you'd think it's a pretty easy model to put together, but there are a lot of ways to do it incorrectly. There's so many ways to clean a toilet, but you can run a business a lot of different ways, and you can run it incorrectly as well. So we spent a lot of time really plowing the ground, trying every model of how many cleaners, what type of cleaners, what kind of efficiencies, what's the brand look like, what's the pricing look like, what do introductory offers look like, what kind of quality standards do we develop, and how do we make it profitable? And I can tell you, we burned a lot of ground, we scorched a lot of earth trying to figure out how to make things profitable before we really dialed it in. But that was a journey, starting from negative gross margins to the point where we figured out where we can actually make this a business that's franchisable. So that took about a year and a half, 2017 and most of 2018, to really dial it in. And that's in our home office here, or home market here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So the whole southeastern corner of Virginia is called Hampton Roads. We operate in that area with our still company-owned stores.
Oh, okay, cool. How many of those do you guys have?
That's just here. It's
Yep.
two territories that we operate out of the corporate office. So that, serves as our proving ground, our training ground, R&D facility. So we bring all of our franchisees in here to train prior to launching. And that started that franchising in 2018. Pretty slow roll out of the gate, but we've really hit our stride this year. We've added 8 franchisees already this year. It brings us up to 18 franchisees, which will more than double where we were at the beginning of the year by the end of this year. And we got 11 of them open and operating in 8 states right now.
Awesome. I was just clicking around on your franchise opportunity website, and one of the things I want to talk about, I mean, you guys are very proud supporters of first responders. So for my friends that are nerds in building websites or understanding architecture as it relates to a website, in the top navigation of their website, both their franchise opportunity website as well as their retail website or consumer website, it says supporting first responders. I mean, that's in between the FAQ and steps to ownership. This must be an important aspect of the organization. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's the heartbeat of our brand. And I can tell you that we evolved into it. It's an interesting story.
Let's go there.
So we created a brand, Home Clean Heroes, as something that we felt was really differentiating. We didn't want to be old, stodgy type of a maid service. So you really don't see the word maid, except where we weave it into our SEO strategies here and there. But we felt that would be a really good, powerful differentiator. And it is. It's appealing, but it really doesn't establish, a core brand promise and a core brand differentiator the way we found that franchisees were looking for. And we found that establishing a real mission-based way for franchisees to give back to their local communities was a strong attractor. Yeah. So, and I've personally got a lot of ties to the first responder community. It kind of came up with the idea of Heroes First and trying to personify that hero label in a way other than just our cleaning specialists. How do we really tie to the real heroes in the marketplace? So we started working with first responder concept. We found our national partner, which is the First Responders Children's Foundation, and aligned with them. They are a 501c3 based in New York, a 22-year-old agency born out of 9/11, whose mission it is to serve the families of first responders who were killed or harmed in the line of duty. So a number of different programs and ways that they support first responders. So, the model is simply we donate a portion of every cleaning fee, and it comes from half from the corporate side, half from the franchisee side. And then we also have a program that allows our customers to round up. So add a buck or two every time helps fill the pot. And that has become, without a doubt, the biggest differentiator of our brand and the single most quoted component of the brand that our franchisees and candidates talk about when they come in to talk about Home Clean Heroes.
That's really cool. I got some chills. I mean, one of the big reasons that so I'm a digital marketing company, and we became a Shopify accredited organization back in 2016. So Shopify is an e-commerce platform. And the whole reason why was because we lost 2 firefighters here in our community. And there was a t-shirt shop who was printing these Kansas City Fire Department hats. It just happened to be when our Royals were good and we were in the World Series. And Eric Hosmer, our first baseman, was wearing one of these hats during warm-ups. It caused national attention to go on this little t-shirt shop that was just trying to help support these families of 2 firefighters who were killed. And they were able to raise $70,000 in 1 month. So $35,000 checks to each of these families got donated. And my team and I got done. We donated the website. Like, I didn't even know this company. I just felt called to help them. I'm like, hey, we got firefighters who went down protecting and serving. I've got a company that can help, and here's a company that wants to help. And now they're one of my best friends in terms of being able to, come together and help support fallen service members. So I think that was just 2 families we were able to help in Kansas City. I think the fact that you guys have partnered with a national organization to do that at scale it's beautiful, man. It really is super, super cool.
Well, it's easily local market applicable, right? And it's fairly universal in terms of its appeal, in terms of the need. And unfortunately, in terms of the impact on
Kiddos, man.
every
It's
person.
kiddos who are hopefully not
Yeah,
orphans as a result of it,
physical,
but
emotional.
yeah, I mean, it's a tough deal. It's really tough. I think if I were a franchisee, I mean, I could see first of all how that's magnetic for the right franchisees who like to support first responders, and I don't know too many people who don't want to support first responders. So that's really cool. But also, you look at business as a vessel for doing something that's bigger than yourself. I mean, it's one of the things that I've always thought business should do, not to get too preachy and be like, hey, this is how you should run your business. But if we're out here and we're making money and we're doing stuff being business, whatever it is, I don't care if you're a baker, you're a digital marketer, you're cleaning houses, whatever, it is, I think, a huge opportunity and to a certain degree responsibility for us to use those vehicles for good outside of what we do to get paid. And I've always believed that.
Absolutely.
I've always just thought that's like good business. It's, if you're privileged, if you've earned some things to be able to share resources with people, why not do it? So awesome. Do your other franchise brands like Mosquito Joe's and whatnot also have similar types of philanthropic components associated with them?
They do. Each one does. I mean, just to close the loop on the background on franchise on Buzz as well. So we sold Mosquito Joe to
Okay,
Neighborly
cool.
in 2019 and picked up British Swim School. So we acquired British Swim School.
Okay.
And we just started our fourth brand, which is Wonderly Lights. So a holiday
cool.
lighting company. So, and they all do have, Wonderly's just fresh out of the gate, but Pool Scouts and British Swim School both do align with several aquatic type of fundraising and benefit organizations as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the Pool Scouts and British Swim School like really tie right next to each other. The holiday light stuff is kind of crazy too. It seems like all of us Americans got lazy around the same time and stopped hanging our own Christmas lights because it's a huge business now, and it feels like it wasn't even a decade ago.
It is, and it's not hard to get in. It's similar to a lot of other home services type brands or concepts. It's not really hard to get into it. You can wade into it if you're an individual proprietor, or if you get into it on a scale like Wonderly is, we're going to bring a lot of resources to the table for you and a lot of good training, so you can actually pick up a pretty good chunk of change pretty quickly in that season.
Also, the Wonderly brand, like just the word Wonderly makes me happy as I'm looking at Wonderly.
Yeah, we actually did just rebrand it. We came out of the gate with a different name, Grand Illumination, trying to get it to market quickly.
I like Wonderly. Wonderly sticks. Grand Illuminations, I could forget. I feel like there's something with lights in there. Wonderly is you're creating wonder. Like you're creating wonder when you go through a neighborhood and it's all lit up and it's joyous for 30, 60 days. That's cool. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Do you find so with these, I don't like to say holding companies. I don't know what you guys can kind of consider yourself, but it's like you've got multiple brands, right? So do you find that you're getting owners of one franchise that are interested in others and having multiple brands within the portfolio? And is that kind of the strategy, or?
We have a few with Wonderly. That's absolutely a strategy.
Yeah, it's highly seasonal. Like they got to do something else.
Right. So in Pool Scouts seasonal markets, it's a really good tie. You've got similar type of labor available, so you can really leverage what you built with your labor force through the summer and shoulder months, and then keep them working through the winter with Wonderly Lights. So that helps make it a year-round type of a business. And then we also are, a lot of our franchisees are seasonal owners of franchises other than Buzz franchises.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Other brands.
It's not something that's exclusive to that. With Home Clean Heroes, you've got a different type of labor force. The biggest thing about the franchisor, Buzz, the parent company, is it's not really a holding company. It is a functional service.
Shared services across all. Yeah. Got it.
So in-house ad agency, analytics, finance, digital marketing, direct mail, all of the marketing components, all of the creative development components as well.
Yeah, you're much like my old company. I mean, we were United Real Estate Franchise Group, and we had 3 different brands, and I ran our marketing company and had 15 team members who came in every single day to serve the franchisees across our 3 brands. And it was actually really cool because we had a great team, like great. We always call this our, home office support team, whatever. We didn't really throw labels on it, but it was cool because we all came to that building every single day with the sole objective of whatever flag, the franchisee's wearing or flying, we came in to support them. And we're one team. And that shared services model, for somebody who might have a couple brands and they're running independently or whatever, that shared services model exists for a reason. The efficiencies of having all those people in one building or on one team really can be that leverage mechanism dropping to the bottom line for the franchisor, particularly if you have multiple brands.
Oh yeah. If we were a standalone brand, right now there's no way we'd be able to afford to provide the kind of service that we do to franchisees, just with our shared services team. So it's a huge advantage.
It also lets you guys take a shot at building new brands because you've got the infrastructure. So you're like, hey, if we want to do a Wonderly, like going out and just building that on its own, probably wouldn't make a ton of sense. But since you've already got a lot of fixed costs, I mean, it's how we built United Real Estate. We had a 90-year-old brand. We're like, well, we can kind of like moonlighting. We can build this other brand, in our spare time is what we always used to joke about. Now that brand is a global brand, and you just never. It's almost like when you have those resources, you've got the resources, you can take a shot at building those new brands. I love it. What do you guys see as do you feel like 4 to 5 brands is kind of about the most that it makes sense to have? Or do you see like, hey, I've seen companies that have as many as 15 brands under one umbrella. And to me, if they're outside of different lanes, it almost feels like that would be kind of a little bit hard, right? So you guys are highly focused on the home. You're not highly focused on the home, British Swim School, but that's connected to Pool Scouts, which is home, right?
Yeah, and a lot of similarities in very low cost, low investment models. It's cheap to get in, cheap to get out, very easy to scale. All the models that we have are that way. So that's been critical for Home Clean Heroes as well. The margins vary a little bit by category, but to answer your question, no, I don't think we're restricted at this point. We're also not in a huge hurry to grow at a great clip. We're going to really protect the levels of support. We're a very well capitalized company, very strong, privately held, private group of investors. We're not going to exploit that to the point where we really thin things out too much. It's a calculated growth. We are still actively investigating, pursuing additional brands. We'll continue to do that, which gives franchisees a lot of confidence too, right? We're in a growth mode. We're not divesting at this point.
Yeah, no. So, and one of the things I just picked up on, all your businesses have recurring revenue, which is awesome. It makes it easier to sell franchises. It makes it more fun to manage a franchise organization, like recurring revenue. I got on this soapbox about recurring revenue, and we actually wrote a book on it back in 2016. When I say wrote a book, it's an ebook called The Recurring Revenue Revolution. Used to be on our website. And I think now everybody's getting subscription fatigue and all those things, right? But back in 2016, they weren't. Back in 2016, recurring revenue wasn't as big of a thing as it is today. Like now it's like everything's recurring revenue. But the fact that you've got that as one of the main components, that is a huge thing to be able to attract and retain and also just make a super valuable franchise system. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and there are some big differences. It's an almost overused term too. When you're looking at a business model, it's not just that it's recurring, that you retain a customer, but how often are you generating revenue from that customer? How frequently is it recurring? How valuable is and unique is your service to that customer? So in a business like Home Clean Heroes, a residential cleaning business, you think about it. Do you have anybody that cleans your house?
Jeannie.
Okay. How long has Jeannie been cleaning
Since we've been parents, so like 11 years. Yeah, long time.
These are very loyal customers.
I was gonna say you just set me up. I'm like over a decade. And by the way, she cleans our office as well. So she's got 2 of our, and she's cleaned that for 5 years since we've had a standalone office.
And is she perfect?
No, hell no. But she's awesome.
Yeah, but she's
dependable.
She's loyal. She's trustworthy.
She lets our dogs out. We know the dogs are going to be there when we get back. Like she's earned a place in our family as almost a family member. We exchange Christmas gifts. She's got the keys to our house. She knows everything about us and my business because she's in it.
So when you get that close to a company that serves you, or they are people, first of all, right? It's a relationship business. I tell all my franchisees that and meet the team day. This is a relationship business. Get ready to get into a relationship with your customers. And you have to treat them like you're in a relationship with them, or they won't be your customers.
Yeah.
They'll be somebody else's customers. But once you establish that relationship, they don't want to lose you. It's not that you have to worry about losing them. They don't want to lose you. So, they'll give you some allowance. It's not whether you'll disappoint, you will. It's how you recover from when you do disappoint. It's just like any relationship. Think about your business like relationship, and you're going to be able to grow it and be successful.
Yeah, for sure. Your locations is kind of like the last thing I want to talk about, just in case there's somebody here who is interested in joining your organization. Are you expanding nationally? Like, are you guys accepting or awarding opportunities in all 50 states, lower 48? Is there certain areas of desired expansion for the organization? Talk to us a little bit about that for territories.
Yeah, available in every place other than Washington, state of Washington, and in Hawaii. The beauty of the model is there's really no supply chain that we have to manage. You acquire most of your materials either through at startup from our vendor, but a lot of your ongoing materials, you're going to order them off Amazon. That's the cheapest way to acquire. We don't force people to buy proprietary chemicals and those kinds of things. We want them to make their money and keep their money. So that's the way that we operate. As far as types of markets, any market with a population of 400 to 500,000 or greater will support a territory and a business that can grow to $1 million. And as far as regions of the country, we do very well in the Southeast, in the South, in Texas. I mean, it's more operators in Texas than any place, but Texas and Florida. We should be signing our first Michigan franchisee next week in Detroit. So we're opening our first franchise in California next month.
Look at that, from coast to coast officially. Yep,
absolutely.
Well, awesome. If people want to learn more about franchise opportunity, or somebody needs a clean house, and they're like, hey, these guys sound great, I want to trust them with keys to my house. Like, where's the best place for people to go to learn more about your guys' organization?
Either one of those two websites you talked about at the beginning of our conversation, homecleanheroes.com, homecleanheroes.com/franchising. Cool. Either one of those places, you can get to both of them.
If you happen to be driving, please do not write that down. We're going to put that in the show notes, and you can just scroll down later on. Joe, one last question. This is one that I feel like a guest dropped on me as a joke, and I love it, and so I'm starting to drop it on some other folks. You did something really bad, Joe. You're in prison. You're on death row. They're getting ready to inject you. You got one meal left. And the cool thing about this meal is you get to have it with your family or whoever you want to have it with. Like, they're going to let you out. They're going to let you go wherever you want. But you get to have one last meal on the planet. What's Joe having?
If I'm going to get to have it with my family, I'm born in New Orleans. I'm a Cajun by
I couldn't hear it in your. I couldn't hear it in your. Usually I can tag you guys. You don't have it.
No, I've been gone long enough.
You don't have the Southern draw at all.
Well, I can get back to that whenever I want to.
There you go. So Southern.
It's going to be a crawfish boil. We're going to do a crawfish boil in the backyard. That's the most social, most fun, the most unique meal, and that's what it's.
We just had our 4th annual. I live in a neighborhood. We're very good friends with our neighbors. We call our area of the neighborhood the Bermuda Triangle for an inside joke, and we just had our 4th annual crab and shrimp boil this past weekend. And it is, we had people we didn't even know there. We had guests coming or whatever, probably 25, 30 people. And you know what? I think that's going to be my answer too, but mine's going to be with my friends in the garage, right? But that is a great way to socialize and break bread with others. So thanks, Joe, for joining the show today. Deeply appreciate it. Yes, sir.
You're welcome. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you found value in this episode, I would love it if you were to subscribe. If it really resonated with you and you think of somebody that might benefit from this conversation with Joe, go ahead and text this episode to them right now. And until next time, I hope you have a phenomenal week and be well.